Hello, hello. It's a very special day. We are celebrating our 6th birthday. Yes. And we want you to come and celebrate with us. So if you're joining us and wherever you're joining us, we're live on all the places, all the things, apart from Instagram, I think. But if you are here, come and join us, say hello, let us know. And we would love you to share any little funny stories you've got. Keep them clean, people. And maybe it's about how you met us or what you love about Now Is Your Time. Because today, Now Is Your Time is 6 years old. I cannot bloody believe it. We've got somebody really special to celebrate with us in a minute as well.
Just don't know where the time's gone. Like, we launched the business like in 2018. It's like, oh my God, it's 2024. And like the 6 years has flown by. It has flown by.
But also I can't remember life before. I can, but it feels like a very distant memory now.
It feels like a very distant memory, like it's been 10 years since we set the business up, but it feels like it's flown by, if that makes sense, because we've just been having so much fucking fun.
We've been having a lot of fun. The word was sweary words today, so just like either put your earphones in or like send the children out the room if you're watching it on replay or live. But it's, to me, if you follow us on stories, on Instagram or Facebook, I invite you to go and have a look at our stories today, because I put on there, like I've sent everyone an email this morning from me and Cheryl, and we put posts on and stuff, but I put something extra on the stories that I didn't really share. And it was, everybody kind of knows the conversation of Cheryl's, well, you might not, Cheryl's dad passed away. And I was like, do you want to join me? And we'll start like a movement, like a global movement. It was never business. That's not really what we said. It was about a movement about talking about who we really are and how hard it is for women when they turn up all shiny and with the lovely makeup on. And I always have like, I've got shoulder pads on in my head. I'm always still like some off LA Law. But do you know what I mean? Like, talk about what really goes on behind the smiles and the I'm fines and it's all goods. And Cheryl was like a hell yes straight away. She was like, given that she was grieving, she'd lost her dad, she was like, hell yes. But the bit that we don't talk about really often is how freaking hard that next 6 months to 12 months was. Like, it was hard work, wasn't it?
God, yeah. 2 senior leaders who'd like ran P&Ls and ran businesses, and then we sat in Donna's kitchen table like, where do we start? And at the time, we didn't have a team. It was just me and Donna having to do everything on our own. Kudos to all entrepreneurs who work themselves.
Wearing all the hats.
There's 2 of us, and it was still really hard trying to work out what a sales page was and MailChimp and emails and just like building the business up from the bottom.
Lead magnets. We're like, what's a lead magnet, people? And again, this was before COVID. So people didn't know about Zoom. They didn't know how to use Zoom. Like this was all very, very new. I used to have to send an explanation every single time I invited someone to a call with a full bloody thing of like what Zoom was and how to use it. It was so funny. But one of our driving force was we wanted to be a change in the world. Like, we wanted to create a change that we wish we had had. And to do that, we were like, to show people that especially women, that they can do anything they want, be anything they want, have anything they want. We're like, well, we've got to go and do that too, right? Like, I don't want to tell Caleb that he can have any life he wants. I want to show him to have the life he wants. So it started from there. And, people are like, how did you get the courage? We didn't have the courage. We were just like, we just knew it had to work. So when there was no money coming in and there were no clients and we didn't have a website and we'd sacked 2 website designers when we did cobble together enough money to get them, it was pure, what's the word? Like purpose. Like, it was because we knew we had something to say and we didn't want one more woman to sit there missing a kid's stuff at school because she felt like she just wasn't good enough to go and do the thing that she wanted to do or get the raise or have the job she wanted. Or we just knew that we had to come out and start speaking our truth and telling our story and just seeing if it changed the lives of just one woman.
Yeah. Yes. And we've changed the lives of tens of thousands of women along the journey, along the way now. Again, didn't know how that was going to happen, if it was going to happen, like had no clue 6 years ago, but it did.
No clue.
And we have a very special woman here.
We do. We have one of these women. We have one of these women that the very first time we met her, you know, and you say, like, you know, when you meet soulmates in life and you just know that someone's going to be in your life in a really special way. And this lady is one of those ladies. And today she's celebrating something really, really special. And we just thought, what more of a beautiful way. And we're starting off with like a little series of these. So we're starting off today with one of our clients who we met through, actually, we were a client of hers. We were doing a speaking event at her company and we just connected and we really got on and we knew something was going to happen. And today she's going to tell you a little bit about that story and celebrate the culmination of where that's led her to something monumental happening in her life today. So right now we're going to bring from backstage in our green room where there's champagne, hors d'oeuvres, and all sorts. There isn't. It's just, we're going to bring the gorgeous Tara Rule in to say hello to you.
Hi, ladies.
And would you just, before we go any further, tell everyone what you are celebrating today?
So my book came out today, which is Stop Apologising. We've all got a copy. Silence your inner critic, find your confidence and stop saying sorry. So it came out today. So that's why we've got this live today, why I'm joining as a guest. But literally, we were in the green room behind the scenes just before we joined, and I got a phone call and I said, sorry, Cheryl, it's just my publisher. Just going to speak to my publisher quickly. And they phoned me and they're saying, I'm a #1 best-selling author.
Yes. Hot off the press. You heard it here first. Yes. Launches a book, bestseller by lunchtime. I mean, did the girl who I met in an Adobe office down south somewhere, how many years ago? What, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Maybe 4, 5.
Did you believe this was even like a thing?
No, I had no idea that like this life was possible. And we just said a minute ago going, this is like this, we're working, this is work. And I was on a retreat last week and I was in Marbella in a villa and I didn't shut the curtains because it was so beautiful. And I woke up and I literally just looked out the window and I went, this is my life. Like, I am so grateful that I get to call this my life because it's just insane. Like, you wouldn't believe it.
Oh my God. So when you read the back of the book though, and it's like, do you find yourself saying sorry all the time? Does your habit of apologizing hold you back personally, professionally? And do you wish you could stop and sound more confident and assertive? And this is the thing though, isn't it? Like when we set up Now Is Your Time, we're like, we just want women to know how powerful they are. We're going around saying, oh, sorry, can I just ask a question? Sorry, this is a stupid question. Sorry for taking up fucking space at the table that I built. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it? Like, why do you think we say sorry so much? And like, what is that about?
Yeah, so I think a big part of it comes from our beliefs and what we think and what we have heard, our experiences, and all of like the stories we've told ourselves, what other people have told us. That all forms our beliefs, as you know. It forms our beliefs that then inform our actions. But there's also another kind of tilt on it, specifically for women. So I'm not saying that men don't apologize, because that is not true. You know, there are men, absolutely, they apologize too much. They lack inner confidence as well. However, if you're a woman sat there going, but my husband doesn't apologize, or my partner doesn't apologize, or my male colleagues don't apologize, there's a few reasons why. So firstly is when we are growing up as young girls, historically, traditionally, girls are taught to play nicely. They play nicely. Come on, let's get along. While boys, more traditionally, are taught to assert themselves. So, like, we're conditioned from a really, really young age without even knowing about it. Saying to girls, don't be bossy. Come on, don't be bossy. Like, play nicely. Also, women tend to be more empathetic. So that is a skill that women tend to have more than men. But when you communicate with empathy, sometimes that can sound apologetic. Even if it's not, it's like, no, I'm just empathizing, but it can sound more empathetic.
Yeah.
And then often as well, that kind of third reason, and this is probably more where I heard it because I kind of grew up in corporate, in a tech world, is when women are in kind of more male dominated environments, they sometimes go, I don't want to go against the grain. I don't want to stand out and I don't want to come across as too assertive. So we'll soften our language slightly. Yeah. So it's a combination of all those things, as well as that fundamental belief, what am I telling myself, leads to us going, oh, sorry to interrupt. Sorry, this might be a stupid question. So it's like, sorry, taking up your time. So it's like, enough. Yeah. So, yeah.
So stop apologizing. Like you earned your place. I always remember reading that in, I think it was one of like Sheryl Sandberg's blogs or something. She was like, stop apologizing and lean in. And then she did the whole like lean in membership movement, whatever that was. I was just like, it's so true though. And like I hear myself doing it more so since you pointed out. And I'm like, God, I do that a lot. Like, what is that about? It's almost like a tick, you know what I mean? Like saying fine or okay, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm not freaking sorry. Like, just say what you want to say.
Exactly. And the thing is, I've been doing a few workshops like the last couple of weeks. I did one earlier today. I'm doing another one later. And the thing is, though, we don't have to. It's not about saying never apologize again. Please don't go, well, Tara told me I could never apologize. Even though I was half an hour late, I'm not going to apologize. It's like, no, that's not the point. We can apologize when it's the polite thing to do and when it's needed. But so often we apologize when we just don't need to.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, no, stop.
Yeah. And one of your posts that you put out as you were building up to the book, you said, like, I can't remember how many years, but you've known the title of this book for many, many, many years. So, like, what was the initial spark that triggered it?
Yeah, so I think there's probably a couple of things. One is I used to hear people say sorry all the time. And I think if you kind of like have word bingo in corporate life, I think the biggest one was, sorry, this might be a stupid question. And it's like, what? And I would call people out because I've mentored and coached people for years. So I'd call people out and go, you don't need to say, sorry, this might be a stupid question, because I'm automatically going to be like, nah, I don't need to listen. I'm not going to go, oh, I wonder what they're going to say, because this is going to be really insightful. We're not, our subconscious going, right, switch off. So I used to spot it all the time. But it was then when I started at Adobe, which was about 8 years ago now, I used to, actually, no, it was later than that because it was after you set your business up. So it must have been about 5 years ago. I got involved in running some women's network sessions at Adobe. And I literally was like, I know the title. I want somebody to run a workshop on Stop Apologizing. So I put it on LinkedIn. I was like, right, who can run a workshop called Stop Apologizing? Thinking that I'd be inundated, because I was like, so many people apologize. It's like, of course I'm going to be these are all these great people. And not one person kind of either opted themselves in or got nominated to go, this person would be amazing to talk about this subject. Yeah. I would say I met some great people, because Donna got tagged on that post to go, not sure if it's Stop Apologizing, but imposter syndrome. Like, so Donna and I then met.
One of the reasons why they apologize. We had such a good chat, because you were spot on, because what you're actually saying is like, I think the language that people use is so damaging and they don't realize it. And we were like, 100% it is, but the language is coming from sometimes from this imposter and this inner critic that you just don't realize is like driving the bus.
Yeah. And do you know what's really interesting is if I'd have written this book 5 years ago, I would have just gone with these are the tools. Because back then I didn't know. Like, I didn't even know, I wasn't even aware that I would say that I'm lucky or believe that I wasn't good enough when we first met. Wow. So if I'd have written it there, it would have been, here's all the tools. Go put it into practice. Good luck. I've helped you. I've saved the day. But now the workshop that I did earlier today, it was 45 minutes. 30 minutes, no joke, was about mindset. Why do you apologize? What are you telling yourself? What could you tell yourself instead that's more truthful, that's more impactful? And I explained it to go, if I just gave you the tools, you wouldn't be able to put them into practice, because you have to have that belief in yourself. So my favorite bit is when I go, what does your inner cheerleader want to tell you? And people are putting in the chat going, I can do this. I'm good enough. I don't have to apologize. I'm like that. And it's literally like, yes.
I love that. But I love that because you talk about the inner cheerleader, obviously, through the book, which you have to get, because what you love about the book is it's inspiring. It shares stories. It shares personal stories. It shares insights, and it shares that this is what they now do, right? So it's like, this is the tool. This is the exercise. But I love on page 81 how you say, belief are just things that you've told yourself thousands of times. They're not facts.
Yeah.
Like that right there. They're not facts, but we do. We think, well, we think it, so we believe it. And that's because we look for evidence to prove the belief. But then, you know, what you believe about yourself, not facts, people.
No, exactly. Exactly.
And it's great because the way you've written it, you've got like reflection spaces, you've got the tools in there, there's diagrams, so you can literally use this, get your pencil out. Don't write it in pen, feels wrong. Get your pencil out and use it like as a workbook, right? To journal your thoughts out, like as you're reading it, which is great because it just helps to bring the teaching points home with diving into your subconscious mind and then having realization and capturing them down. So I love how it's set out like that.
I do. and like, you know, obviously we've worked together for years, and you understand mindset so deeply now, just like you said, such a different level of understanding about cause and effect. And that's what I love, is it really goes deep. It's not just like just loads of like motivational rah kind of things. And I've always loved this, the play on your name for the rule book, your rule book.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's like, congratulations. Through this book, you've been on your journey to create your rule book.
Yeah.
I mean,
Love it.
it's just so cool. Like, it gives me goosebumps every time I say it. My tummy does a little flip, and I'm like, it's so
The thing is, if because, you know, like you said, 5 years ago, you would have went, there's the tools, here you go. Didn't really like
off your bush.
fully understand that you might be suffering from imposter syndrome, that you might have had a worth issue, that you might have not felt good enough, which is obviously now you've realized that in yourself, had your own realizations, worked on your own beliefs in your mindset, which you've got a lot of things in like stories in here, because it helps bring to life that you're not just going, there's the tools, you've experienced it when you've transitioned from corporate into setting up your own business. Like, I remember just even the multiple conversations about what name to call your business.
I procrastinated for a long time. What do I call my business? What? And then they go, I've got a paid client and I need to send them an invoice, so I need to set up a company. Taro Limited.
That was hysterical. I love that. Well, this was one of my favorite. It's on page 55, which obviously 5, 2s, 5s, and 6s now are my favorite numbers. When I started being coached, my goal was to write a business plan so that one day in 5 to 10 years, if I wanted to leave my corporate job, I would have a plan. I mean, God love you. You didn't know what was coming at that point, did you? In reality, I started my own business within 3 months of joining the program and had my first paying client. Then we had to come up with a name. Within 3 months, I set the date to leave my corporate job. I realized that my purpose in life was to positively impact the world. Fast forward a couple of years, I have a successful international business coaching busy professionals, business owners, and leaders. I deliver workshops for companies big and small and run coaching retreats. I love it, but more importantly, I am no longer driven by fear, and I know I am positively impacting the world. That's an picture
out loud,
isn't it? Though that's what, like, it literally gives me chills, because you just don't realize what you're capable. I remember you come into the retreat in France at the Chateau and say on the way, like, I've started writing my book. And we were like, oh.
Yeah, I wrote the first lines when I was at the airport on the way to the Chateau.
Because you just decided, and this is the thing, isn't it? It's like, when you start, the more and more you create the habit of just listening to the inner critic, stop apologizing, getting really in tune with what you want. It builds momentum, doesn't it? And it gets easier and easier. And it's not that it's easy to write the book or put it out there, or it's not that you're not thinking, God, will somebody give me a good review, or what will they say? Will they like it? You still have those thoughts, but they're not the thing that's making the decisions anymore, right?
Yeah, completely. And I remember as well, even like we had a conversation, and the book's about 50,000 words. And when I was about 20,000 words in, and I was there going, this is never about word count. Like, if I feel like I'm done at 40,000, then I'm done. Like, it's not about, I've got to fill up words. But I was aware, like, of how many words have I written, how far am I? And I got to 20,000 words, and I remember thinking, I've just written a long blog. I've told everyone I'm writing a book, but this is not a book. This is just a long blog. And I remember we had a conversation, Donna, and you said to me, well, what's your goal? And I said, well, I want to write a book that everybody will love. And you were like, really? Really? Everybody?
Yeah,
you want everybody
in the world. I still love my book, otherwise I'm not
writing copies.
And then I'm going, that's not why I'm writing it at all. Like, I want to write a book that I love, and I want to positively impact the world, like one book at a time. But just having that reframe, because sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves, going, I've got to do this, or it must be a failure. And even like, amazing that I'm #1 best-selling book, but at the same time, I was thinking, that's not why I've done it. Like, I've written a book, and great if everybody buys it on day one, so it's a bestseller, but that's never been my motivation.
No.
And I think different things happen when you have slightly different motivations. Again, just want to write a book that I love and know that it can help people.
Well, when you're really tuned in, though, aren't you? And that took time, does it? Because we have to almost uncorporate ourselves from the metrics. Like, we're so used to in our corporate leadership roles having all these metrics, and you've got to hit, and then there's KPIs and And you said this on page 73, you said, I've reminded myself that I get to choose, and I choose to write this book so that I can help you and so many others make a positive impact in the world. And that's what, when you kept coming back to your truth of like, why did I do this in the first place? Like, you've got daughters that you want them to have these tools, right? And it's so easy though, isn't it, to get hung up on the bestseller is amazing, but this book is brilliant. Regardless of that, it's just amazing that we have that as well. It's like the cherry on the cake rather than being the cake itself.
Yeah,
completely.
But that takes a lot of inner confidence. That takes someone who stopped apologizing for the desires, who stopped apologizing for wanting certain things, to be able to stand in that, like, really, and owning that space of, I'm putting it out there because I believe it needs to. I've got it to say, and I believe it'll serve someone. Like, that takes a whole different level. Loads of people say to me, I'd love to write a book, I'm not confident enough. And I'm like, then write the fucking book. Like,
somebody on LinkedIn, they commented earlier, because I've posted a post on LinkedIn, I've literally been overwhelmed by the love on LinkedIn, like the amount of, like, and others as well, socials, but specifically on LinkedIn, how many comments I've had.
Hundreds of like celebrations and stuff when I saw it before. I was like, oh my God.
So lovely. But what somebody wrote, I can't even remember now. I've now gone off on a tangent about like getting overwhelmed by how much love. I can't even remember the point I was going to make. But knowing that this will help people. And that's the thing. That was it. Somebody wrote, I would love to write a book, but I've only got a title. And I replied and went, 9 months ago, I only had a title. Like, that was it. Right. I had a title and a subtitle. I actually went and changed the subtitle. So that was it. I had no idea what it was going to be.
Yeah, you've got to start somewhere. It's like anything, but people do this. They think they have to have the whole book in their head, and you don't. You just start writing, and then you look to see what comes out. Hi, Natalie. You start the process, and you see what comes out. Like, that's part of the creative process. If you knew it all already, it'd be really super boring. Like, you might know what the message is or what you want to say, but then it's about allowing that divine guidance and that inspiration and that to like flow through you as you write it, and trust that what you're going to say is what needs to be heard, whether it's by one people or a million.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's it. Just bring it back to one person. That's how, when I started writing a blog years ago, it was like, I'm just doing this for one person. And I think if you can get back to that as well, because sometimes we get overwhelmed by how many likes, how many things, like, oh, I only got, it's like just one person. If our actions can help one person each day,
yeah,
how amazing is that?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
So it's the ripple effect, isn't it? Like, for every one person who picks up your book and takes away a reframe or a different perspective, goes on and impacts 125 people. So, like, imagine the ripple effect of a message in your book that's going to have.
And then just that there. For my girls, you know, you've done this, and one of the reasons you started your business was to, yes, it's to have an impact, but the same as me, like, I wanted to be home for my son as well. Like, and that's what I put on stories for anyone wants to check it out. It's like, I remember I've posted a photo on there of where I'm all smiley, and I was out for lunch with them in Newcastle, but it was a mam-laden, a mam-guild trip, because I knew I was then going to barely see him for at least the next 6 months, because I'll be working away from Monday to Thursday. And so the setting the business up was, I wanted to show Caleb how to live a great life, but I wanted to be home to see him grow up as well. And I believe that you could have an impact while you were doing that. And that's exactly what you're creating with your business, with your book, with your workshops, with your, all of the joy and the love and the things that you're putting out in the world, with the tools to go with it, to show women like us, and men if they want to, how to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, completely. And I think it is just like a combination of, like, there's so many things that we believe because of things that our parents have kind of put into us.
Yeah.
Like, right or wrong, like, love my parents. But there are things that you kind of go, oh yeah, okay, there is beliefs. And actually as well, it's around, like, we're helping the next generation have that kind of inner belief and that self-confidence. And everybody that I help, that it just, as you say, it's that ripple effect and helping the next generation. I think that's an element as well, which really, I know when I set up the business, I was going, why am I doing it? Why? And I'm going, I was 40 almost before I realized that I had a belief that I wasn't good enough. Imagine if I figured that out at 20. like how my life might have been different. And I don't want to change a thing because I love
No.
exactly where I am right now. But God, imagine if I believed that I was good enough rather than I wasn't good enough when I was in my 20s. It's like, wow. So yeah, it's just that ripple.
I think the thing is as well, like from meeting you as well and meeting so many of our clients, you wouldn't come across us and go, God, they're not confident. Because we might be confident on the outside and that I'm fine, but nobody really knows like the lack of self-belief and the lack of self-worth and all of the bits and the imposter and the critic and that most of us are dealing with. I certainly would. I was thinking that before about when we first met you, you know, on the surface, I remember saying to you, God, you were scary because you were really posh, because obviously you're from down south. So that means you're posh. That means you're intelligent. That means that I'm inferior to you. Like that's, and I would hear myself going, God, you don't have to talk shite.
Then you met me and you realise I'm not posh or intelligent.
You are all of those with a cherry on the top. And we got to have this really beautiful, vulnerable conversation within minutes of meeting each other that was really emotional, right? And it's like, and I love that when you get to really see and be seen. Like, I think it's a very special thing. And I think that's the movement that we're in and this world that we're in, that there's a lot of people, women out there don't know about. And we've seen it before, haven't we, when they come into our events and things. And like, God, I didn't know like women cheering women on and being each other's cheerleader really existed. Like I thought it was all, you know, I was brought up believing don't trust other women. Like they're all bitches. Like you hear this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well,
and I feel so fortunate because I've never been in that situation where like people go, oh, we're against each other, because I think I get into masterminds like with you and with others that are just going, actually, no, we've got each other's back. And that's really, really amazing to kind of be in a community where we go, right, we've got each other's back. Like, as I say, the amount of love with kind of this launch is amazing. And there's none of even if people are deep down going, oh, wish I wrote a book, hopefully it inspires people. Because it's not about competition. Like it's about like literally us all building each other up. That's
absolutely, together we rise. And when you see one woman doing it, Cheryl always says this, it's like, that's proof that you can too. Like if you want it, that is your proof that you can too. Like we always say, like everyone is special, but none of us are special. Like we all have got the same access to the same things. And if we want to create something, it's within our grasp. We just have to get out of our own way sometimes and stop fucking apologizing and actually go and do it.
Yes.
So go and get the book. Tara, we'll make sure that your link goes on all of the on all of our different feeds where this is, so that everyone will get this book. It's already a bestseller, so get your backside, get it, buy it for someone. And guess what's going to be our book of the month?
I've had my mum sent me a message from a family friend going, I bought loads of copies. It's going to be birthday presents. It's going to be like 4th of July presents because they're out in America. Like literally, it's like, they bought loads of copies. I'm like, oh.
I always remember Claire Hetherington Dar driving around. She's like, I've just got a box of them in the trunk, and then anyone that I'll stop and say gets a book. She's like, Oprah, you get a book, you get a book, you get a book.
Can I also just take the opportunity, because I've just seen that Mel, the gifting goddess, Mel, thank you. Look how amazing. And this is again like that community, like supporting each other. We met in the mastermind. Like she now helps me, like sends out boxes to my clients to surprise and delight, and it's like just that community and power.
It's the ripples, isn't it? It's the ripples. We call them the unicorn ripples. You've heard of the butterfly effect. This is the unicorn ripples. Once you're in the blessing, you're always part of the blessing. So Tara's going to go and wait in our green room now while we wrap up with you guys, and we're going to have a little chat and like do more squealing things for the number one bestseller.
Thank you. Let's make sure that you would write again.
I'm letting Cheryl do the tech. Thank you, Tara. Congratulations. And the thing is, like, what Tara's done is possible for all of us. That's what she's saying, and that's what we're saying. It's stop feeling like that's somebody else's life, whether it's writing a book, whether it's going for the promotion, whether it's buying the house you want, whether it's finding the love of your life, whether it's having a baby, whether it's setting up a business, whether it's making your business pay you 10 grand a month or 20 grand a month or 30 grand. Like everything is possible.
Absolutely. Because we're all limitless, right? And as Donna said before, if someone else can do that, if somebody else has had the success that you desire, then it's possible for you. You just have to get really clear about what it is you want. You have to get clear about what it is you want. You've got to get in a position where you're asking for what you want, where you're declaring what you want to have happen, and putting your energy and your focus and it's like that fire in your belly, like you were talking about before, that purpose behind something, and it will be created.
It has
because
no
anything's possible.
Anything is possible, and the universe only says yes. So whatever you put out, you're going to get back. That's how it works. To help you do that, and to help you get out your own way, to help you to create the kind of clarity and power and purpose and legacy and confidence that Tara's got, we've got two very special things for you. One is, if you haven't already joined Money Frequency, we start on Saturday. It's a 22-day money mindset manifestation program where every single day we'll be dropping you'll join us in an app. We'll be dropping daily tasks, teachings, and inspiration in for you to elevate your consciousness and elevate your awareness and your frequency to get you into the vibration of the kind of money that you want to be making. Okay. So if you haven't done that, it's £1 a day. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it's a no-brainer. 111 people, 111, are signed up ready to start rocking and rolling with us on Saturday. So make sure you do that. At the minute, it's £22 and we start on the 22nd of June. It will go up soon. So join that. But then the other thing is, Cheryl and I were talking yesterday. Team had heart failure when we told them about it this morning because we got all excited. And Cheryl and I were like, we knew we were having Tara on today. We're all excited about it. And we're like, how can we do this? How can we keep making this learning and training development more and more and more accessible? So we're doing something again that we've never done before. And we are opening up the mastermind that Tara, it's our close proximity, high-level coaching program that Tara actually worked with us in, and we're opening it up for a 3-month stint. So usually you have to join us for 12 months. Occasionally you can do 6 months, but we are opening up for 3 months. So you get one-to-one with us, you get an energy one-to-one with Cheryl, an energy alignment, which is priceless. Like, it alone is worth the investment, and we're doing that for you as a very special one-off. We're only opening up a few spaces. Once those spaces have gone, it's off the table, and it'll be closed down in a couple of days regardless. So we're leaving that up just for a few days. So if you want that, you need to DM us Limitless. Okay, DM us Limitless, and we are doing it for a price that will blow your mind as a special birthday treat, and you can pay monthly. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. So DM us, and we'll chat to you and give you some guidance if that's the right thing for you. And then we're off now to go and do more celebrating and get ready, because tonight it's week 5 of our mind coding certification, which is just like literally blowing everyone's minds. I got a DM yesterday, didn't we, Cheryl, saying from someone saying, literally, it's already transforming my business and my life. Thank you so much for bringing it to us. I'm like, this is what we get to do. This again is work. So have an incredible day. Come and celebrate with us. We'd love you to share what you love about Now Is Your Time, or what you've taken away, your biggest aha moment from Cheryl. I know it's week 5 already, Mel. It's blown my mind. What you've taken away from working or seeing me and Cheryl, and anything that you've learned from Tara today. And make sure you connect with us all if you're not already. So big loves. Mwah. Have a fabulous day. Bye, guys.